The rain hit the metal roof of Do-hyun's farmhouse like angry fists. He sat at his kitchen table, watching the storm through the window while drinking his evening tea. The automated crop sprinklers had shut down hours ago when the weather sensors detected the incoming storm. His wheat field stretched out into the darkness, barely visible through the heavy rain. Lightning split the sky, followed by thunder that shook the house. His wife Yuna looked up from her tablet where she was reading the colony news reports. Their 12-year-old daughter Hyeri had fallen asleep on the couch hours earlier, exhausted from helping in the fields all day. "This storm is worse than the weather station predicted," Yuna said, setting down her tablet. "The communication tower might go down again." Do-hyun nodded. The colony of New Busan had been having problems with their equipment for months. First, the harvesting machines started breaking down more often. Then a strange plant disease began affecting some of the outer farms. The colonists were worried about their food supplies for the winter months ahead. "At least the crops needed the water," Do-hyun replied, finishing his tea. "The automatic systems have been using too much from the underground wells." A bright flash of lightning illuminated the sky, but this time something was different. Instead of the usual blue-white light, there was an orange glow that streaked across the clouds. Both Do-hyun and Yuna stood up, pressing their faces to the window. "What was that?" Yuna whispered. Before Do-hyun could answer, a loud crash came from somewhere beyond the wheat fields. The sound was different from thunder. It was the sound of metal hitting earth at high speed. The house lights flickered once, then went out completely. "Emergency power should kick in soon," Do-hyun said, reaching for the flashlight they kept in the kitchen drawer. The backup generator hummed to life and dim lights came on throughout the house. "Should we call Park Min-ho?" Yuna asked, referring to the colony administrator. Do-hyun was already putting on his rain jacket. "I need to check if whatever crashed damaged our equipment first. The main irrigation control is in that direction." "You are not going out in this storm alone," Yuna said firmly. "Wake Hyeri and we will all go together." "No, keep her here where it is safe. I will just take a quick look and come back." But Yuna was already shaking their daughter awake. "Hyeri, put on your boots and jacket. Something crashed near our fields." The family stepped out into the storm, their flashlights cutting weak paths through the rain. The wind tried to push them back toward the house, but they walked carefully across the muddy ground toward the wheat fields. The smell in the air was strange, like burning metal mixed with something else they could not identify. As they got closer to the crash site, they could see pieces of twisted metal scattered across the flattened wheat. Whatever had fallen from the sky was not from Earth. The metal had a blue-green color and seemed to shimmer even in the dim light of their flashlights. "Is it a spaceship?" Hyeri asked, her voice barely heard over the wind. "Stay close to us," Do-hyun warned, moving forward slowly. Near the center of the destruction, they found the main part of the crashed vessel. It was roughly egg-shaped, but with strange angles that hurt to look at. Pieces of the hull had been torn away during the crash, revealing a dark interior. Then they heard the sound. It was a clicking noise, like someone tapping their fingernails on glass, but faster and more complex. The sound was coming from inside the crashed ship. "We should go back and call for help," Yuna said, grabbing Do-hyun's arm. But before they could move, something emerged from the wreckage. The creature was tall, taller than any human, with long, thin limbs and 4 arms instead of 2. Its body was covered in what looked like natural armor plates, dark green and black. Its head was larger than a human head, with big compound eyes that reflected their flashlight beams like mirrors. Most surprising of all, clinging to the creature's back were 3 smaller versions of itself, clearly young ones. They made soft chirping sounds and pressed close to their parent. The large creature saw the humans and froze. For a long moment, nobody moved. Rain continued to fall on all of them. Then the creature did something unexpected. It slowly raised all 4 of its hands, showing its palms in what seemed like a universal gesture of peace. When it spoke, the words came out in broken but understandable human language. "Please," the creature said, its voice making clicking sounds between the words. "Little ones hungry?" "Very hungry. Need food." Hyeri stepped forward before her parents could stop her. "Mom, look how thin the babies are." Indeed, the 3 young creatures clinging to their parent looked weak and sick. Their eyes were dim, and they barely moved except to hold on. The adult creature looked at each human family member, then focused on Do-hyun. "You grow food here, yes? I see plants. Good plants." It gestured toward the wheat fields with one of its 4 arms. "I work," the creature continued. "I work your plants. Make plants grow better." You give food for little ones. Please, Do-hyun's mind raced. Colony law was strict about contact with unknown alien species. They were supposed to report any contact immediately and wait for Federation officials. But looking at the desperate parent and its starving children, he felt something stronger than law. How do we know you are not dangerous? He asked carefully. The creature made a sound that might have been laughter but sadder. If dangerous, would ask for help. Would show little ones. It gently touched one of the young ones on its back. Only want little ones to live. In the distance, they could hear the sound of vehicles approaching. Someone else had seen the crash and was coming to investigate. Colony security, Yuna said quietly. The alien creature heard the vehicles too. Fear filled its large eyes. Please, it said again, more urgently. Little ones die if taken away. We'll work hard, very hard. Just need food for them. Do-hyun looked at his wife and daughter. He saw his own thoughts reflected in their faces. This was a parent asking for help to save its children. Can you walk? He asked the creature. Yes. Ship dead, but I not hurt bad. Then come with us, quickly. As they helped the alien family toward their farmhouse, the security vehicles got closer. Do-hyun hoped he was making the right choice. But when he looked at the three small creatures barely clinging to their parents' back, he knew that sometimes doing right was more important than following rules. The storm continued to rage around them as they reached the house, but Do-hyun felt that the real storm was just beginning. The alien creature sat carefully on the floor of Do-hyun's living room, her three young ones still clinging to her back. Yuna had brought towels and was trying to dry them off, though she kept her distance. Her hands shook as she held out the soft cloth. It is okay, the creature said softly. I dry little ones myself. She took the towel with one of her 4 hands and began gently cleaning her children. They made small chirping sounds and pressed closer to her. Do-hyun watched from the doorway as Colony Security Chief Oh Sun-woo knocked loudly on his front door. The alien creature tensed, her compound eyes reflecting the house lights. Hide in the back room, Do-hyun whispered. Take your young ones. But before the creature could move, Sun-woo opened the door and stepped inside with 2 other security officers. His eyes immediately found the alien family. What is this? Sun-woo demanded, his hand moving to his weapon. This is Valara, Do-hyun said quickly, making up a name on the spot. She is my new farm worker. I registered her as an indentured laborer under colonial work laws. Sun-woo looked confused. Indentured laborer? Do-hyun, this is clearly an unknown alien species. We need to report this to Federation authorities immediately. She crashed during the storm, Hyeri said suddenly. Her babies were dying. Dad had to help them. The alien, now called Valara, looked up at Sun-woo. Work hard, she said in her broken human language. Make crops grow good. Only want food for little ones. The law says any colonist can register alien workers if they provide food and shelter, Do-hyun stated firmly. I am providing both. She works for me now. Sun-woo frowned. That law was written for trading with known friendly species, not for crash survivors of unknown origin. The law does not say known species only, Yuna added, surprising everyone. She had been quiet since they brought Valara inside. It says any alien willing to work. While the adults talked, Hyeri had moved closer to Valara's young ones. One of them, the smallest, reached out with a tiny hand toward the human girl. Hyeri smiled and gently touched its fingers. Look how cute they are, Hyeri said. They are like little versions of their mom. Valara watched this interaction carefully, then clicked something in her own language to her children. They made happy chirping sounds in response. What did you tell them? Hyeri asked. I tell them you are safe human, kind human. Valara looked at Hyeri with what seemed like gratitude. They scared before. Now they feel better. Sun-woo was not convinced. Even if the law allows this, we know nothing about their species. They could be dangerous. They could carry diseases. If I was dangerous, Valara said slowly, would I ask for help? Would I show you my young ones? She gently stroked the head of her smallest child. Only want them to live. They very hungry for many days. Yuna disappeared into the kitchen and returned with a bowl of fruit and some bread. She set it down near Valara, though she still kept her distance. Valara's eyes grew wide at the sight of food. She picked up a piece of bread and broke it into 3 small portions, giving one to each of her children before taking any for herself. They ate quickly but carefully, making grateful chirping sounds. When did they last eat? Yuna asked softly. 6 days ago, Valara replied. Maybe 7. Lost count. Food ran out on ship before crash. Sunwoo watched the alien family eat and his expression softened slightly. Where did you come from? Why were you traveling? Valara's large eyes became sad. Homeworld called Thykal Prime. War came to our planet. Big war. Very bad. She clicked something to her children who moved closer to her. My mate, my Hive family all gone. Killed in bombing from sky. Your mate died in the war. Yuna asked, her voice gentle. Yes, he fought to protect Hive. I took little ones and ran. Stole small ship to escape. Valara looked down at her hands. Not proud of running. But little ones more important than pride. Dohyun felt a pain in his chest. He understood what it meant to want to protect your children above everything else. How long were you traveling? He asked. Many weeks. Ship damaged in space battle. Only made it this far because little ones needed food soon. Valara looked around at the humans. Your planet showed up on sensors. Saw farms. Knew there was food here. Hieri had been listening carefully. You came all this way just to find food for your babies? Not babies, Valara said with what might have been a smile. Young ones, but yes. Mother will do anything to feed children. Same for all species, I think. Yuna nodded slowly. She understood that feeling completely. Sunwoo was still worried. Even if your story is true, we need to contact Federation authorities. They have procedures for refugee situations. Federation will take little ones away, Valara said, fear creeping into her voice. We'll put them in study facilities. I've seen this happen to other refugee families. Little ones die in facilities. They need mother. That cannot be true, Sunwoo said. Is true, Valara insisted. Federation think young alien specimens valuable for research. They take children, study them. Parents never see them again. The room became quiet except for the soft chirping of Valara's children as they finished eating. She stays here, Dohyun said finally, at least for tonight. Tomorrow we can discuss this more with Colony Administrator Park Minho. Sunwoo was not happy, but he nodded. Fine, but I am posting guards outside, and this gets reported to the administration first thing tomorrow morning. After Sunwoo and his officers left, the house felt more peaceful. Yuna had prepared a bed of blankets in the spare room, and Valara settled her children there. They chirped softly to each other before falling asleep. They sound like birds when they are happy, Hieri observed. Yes, Valara said. Happy sounds different from scared sounds. Your kindness makes them happy. Yuna watched Valara gently cover her sleeping children with blankets. Despite the alien's strange appearance, her movements were those of any caring mother. Tomorrow will be difficult, Dohyun warned. Not everyone in the colony will understand. I work very hard, Valara promised. Show everyone I help, not hurt. Make your crops grow better than ever before. How can you do that? Yuna asked. My people farmers for thousands of years. No plants, no soil. Know how to make things grow strong and healthy. Valara looked toward the window where dawn was beginning to break. If you let me work, I show you. As the sun rose over New Busan Colony, Dohyun wondered what kind of storm they had just invited into their lives. But watching Valara carefully check on each of her sleeping children one more time, he felt they had made the right choice. Some storms brought destruction, but others brought new life. 3 weeks had passed since Valara arrived at the farm. Every morning she worked in the fields while her children played near the farmhouse under Yuna's careful watch. The alien mother proved to be an amazing worker. With her 4 arms, she could do the work of 3 humans, and she seemed to understand plants in ways that surprised everyone. Dohyun watched her examine a section of wheat that had been growing poorly. Valara knelt down and touched the soil with her long fingers, then smelled it. She clicked softly to herself. A sound he had learned meant she was thinking. Problem here, she announced, looking up at him. Soil sick. Plants getting sick too. The agricultural specialist checked this area last month, Dohyun said. He said everything was fine. Valara shook her head. Human eyes see different than Thykal eyes. We see plant sickness before it shows. She pointed to leaves that looked healthy to Dohyun. These leaves tell me disease coming. Will spread to all crops in maybe 2 weeks. That evening, Colony Administrator Park Minho visited the farm with Dr. Kim Tae-hyung, a plant specialist from the main settlement. They had come to investigate reports about Valara's unusual farming methods. Show them what you told me, Dohyun said to Valara. Valara led the group to the problem area. In the fading daylight, She pointed out subtle changes in the wheat that the humans could barely see. Disease starts in roots, moves up slowly. By time you see it in leaves, too late to stop. Dr. Kim took samples of soil and plants. We will test these in the lab, he said skeptically. But our equipment would have detected any serious problems. Your equipment looked for known problems, Valara replied. This disease new. Came from off-world, maybe brought by trading ships. 3 days later, Dr. Kim returned with test results. His face was pale with worry. She was right, he told Do-Hyun. We found a fungal infection we have never seen before. Without treatment, it will destroy every crop in the colony within a month. What can we do? Park Min-ho asked. Human treatments will not work, Valara said before Dr. Kim could answer. But Thykal treatments might work. My people fought similar disease on homeworld many years ago. What kind of treatment? Dr. Kim asked. Valara explained that her people produced special chemicals in their bodies that could fight plant diseases. She would need to work closely with the infected areas, treating the soil with secretions from glands in her hands. Is this safe for the plants humans eat? Park Min-ho asked. Very safe. Thykal and humans eat many same types of plants. Our treatment makes plants stronger, more healthy, better food for everyone. The work was exhausting. For 2 weeks, Valara spent every daylight hour in the fields, carefully treating infected areas. She worked so hard that she often forgot to eat. Yuna had to bring food to her in the fields. You will make yourself sick, Yuna warned, watching Valara work through another sunset. Little ones need food all winter, Valara replied, not stopping her work. If crops die, all children in colony go hungry. Cannot let that happen. Her own children helped in small ways, using their tiny hands to apply treatments to plants close to the ground. They seemed to understand the importance of the work, chirping encouragement to their mother when she looked tired. Meanwhile, not everyone in the colony was happy about Valara's presence. A group led by colonist Choi Sung-ho had been spreading rumors that the alien family was dangerous. They held meetings in the town center demanding that Valara be removed. How do we know she did not bring the disease herself? Sung-ho asked loudly at one gathering. Very convenient that she shows up and suddenly knows how to fix a problem we never had before. Some colonists nodded in agreement. Maybe this is how her species takes over other planets, someone else suggested. First they make problems, then they offer to solve them. But other colonists disagreed. Nam Ji-woo, a young farmer whose fields bordered Do-hyun's land, spoke up. I have watched her work. She does not rest. She does not complain. She just works to save our crops. And her children play with our children, added another colonist. They are learning our language. They share their food with our kids. Does that sound like invaders to you? The arguments continued for days, dividing the colony into 2 groups. Some wanted Valara gone immediately. Others believed she was their only hope of saving the harvest. Then came the day when Valara's treatment began to show results. The diseased areas of wheat suddenly started growing green and strong again. Plants that had been dying became healthier than they had ever been. The treated soil produced grain that was larger and more nutritious than normal. Dr. Kim was amazed by the results. The yield from treated areas is 40% higher than our best previous harvests, he reported to the Colony Council. And the nutritional content is significantly improved. How is this possible? Park Min-ho asked. Thykal treatment not just fight disease, Valara explained. It also makes soil better. Add nutrients that plants need. Make plants strong so they fight disease themselves in future. As harvest time arrived, it became clear that Valara had saved the colony from disaster. The crops she had treated produced enough food to feed everyone through the winter with surplus to trade with other colonies. But Choi Seung-ho was not satisfied. This proves my point, he declared at another town meeting. She deliberately caused the disease so she could control our food supply. Now we depend on her. Next she will demand payment or special treatment. What payment has she asked for? Nam Ji-woo challenged. Just food for her children. Same as any worker. Today it is just food, Sung-ho replied. Tomorrow she will want more. Mark my words, this alien will bring more of her kind. They will take over our colony. The tension in the colony continued to grow, even as the abundant harvest filled their storage buildings. Valara worked harder than ever, trying to prove her value to the community. But she could feel the fear and anger from some of the colonists. Maybe I should leave, she told Do-hyun one evening as they watched her children play with Harry in the farmyard. Do not want to cause trouble for your family. You are not causing trouble, Do-hyun replied firmly. Fear causes trouble. Ignorance causes trouble. You are just trying to take care of your children. Some humans hate me, cannot change their minds. Some humans hate many things, Yuna added, joining the conversation. But more humans are good than bad. You will see. As winter approached, the colony celebrated their successful harvest with a festival. Valara and her children attended, though they stayed close to the Kang family. The alien children had grown bigger and stronger, and they spoke simple human words mixed with their clicking language. The celebration was joyful, but underneath the happiness everyone knew that bigger challenges were coming. The Federation authorities would eventually come to investigate. And somewhere in space, Valara's own people might still be searching for her. For now, though there was enough food for everyone, and 3 alien children laughed and played with human friends under the stars of their new home. The Federation inspectors arrived on a cold morning in early winter. 3 officials in dark blue uniforms stepped off their transport ship and immediately asked to speak with Colony Administrator Park Min-ho. Word spread quickly through the settlement that they had come to investigate reports about an unregistered alien presence. Inspector Lee Soo-jin was the leader of the group. She was a stern woman with short gray hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. Her 2 assistants carried scanning equipment and recording devices. We received reports of an illegal alien refugee being harbored in this colony, she announced at an emergency town meeting. Under Federation law, all non-human contacts must be reported within 48 hours. This colony failed to do so. Park Min-ho shifted uncomfortably. The situation was unusual. We followed colonial labor laws regarding indentured workers. Those laws apply to known friendly species with proper documentation, Inspector Lee replied sharply. This alien has no papers, no background checks, no medical clearance. She must be transferred to a Federation processing facility immediately. Do-hyun stood up from his seat in the crowded meeting hall. Valara is a member of my household. She works my land and cares for her children. She has committed no crimes. Her legal status is irrelevant, the inspector said. Undocumented aliens are a security risk. We have facilities designed to handle refugees properly. What happens to her children in these facilities? Yuna asked, also standing. Inspector Lee hesitated before answering. Juvenile aliens receive appropriate care and education. They are valuable for understanding alien biology and psychology. You mean they become test subjects? Do-hyun said angrily. I mean they receive care appropriate for their species, the inspector replied coldly. Dr. Kim Tae-hyung raised his hand to speak. Inspector, I have studied this alien's contributions to our colony. Her agricultural knowledge saved our entire food supply. She has proven to be beneficial, not dangerous. One individual's usefulness does not override Federation security protocols, Inspector Lee stated. The alien and her offspring will be transferred tomorrow morning. That evening, the Kang family sat with Valara in their living room. The alien mother held her youngest child close while the other 2 leaned against her sides. They seemed to understand that something bad was happening. I know this would come, Valara said quietly. Federation always takes refugee children, studies them. Parents never see them again. There has to be something we can do, Yeri said, tears in her eyes. They are part of our family now. Do-hyun had been thinking hard all day. There might be a way, he said slowly, but it would require a big legal step. What kind of step? Yuna asked. I could formally adopt Valara's children as my own. Under Federation family unification laws, alien children who are legally adopted by human citizens cannot be separated from their families without extreme cause. Valara looked confused. Adopt means what? It means they become our children too, Yuna explained. Legally, they would be human citizens with all the same rights as Hyeri. And their mother? Valara asked. If you are the biological parent of human citizens, you can petition for emergency citizenship based on family protection laws, Do-hyun continued. It is complicated, but it might work. Valara was quiet for a long time, clicking softly to her children in their own language. They clicked back and she nodded. You would do this for us? She asked finally. You are already family, Yuna said simply. This just makes it official. The next morning, Do-hyun filed the adoption papers with the colony's legal office, just as Inspector Lee arrived to collect Valara and her children. The inspector was not pleased with this development. These adoption papers are clearly a legal maneuver to avoid Federation authority, she said. angrily. "The papers are legal and properly filed," replied Colony Legal Officer Young Miran. "Under Federation law, you cannot remove adopted children from their legal guardians without a court hearing. This is ridiculous. The adoption is obviously fraudulent. Are you saying that Citizen Kang Do-hyun is lying under oath about his parental intentions?" Young Miran asked. "That is a serious accusation." Inspector Lee realized she was in a difficult position. Federation law strongly protected family rights, especially regarding children. "Fine, we will wait for a proper hearing. But the adult alien remains in custody." "Actually, she does not," Do-hyun said, producing another set of papers. "As the biological mother of my adopted children, Valara has filed for emergency citizenship. Until that petition is resolved, she cannot be detained without criminal charges." The inspector's face turned red with anger. "You people are making a mockery of Federation law." "No," said a voice from the back of the room. "We are following Federation law exactly." Everyone turned to see Nam Ji-woo entering the office. Behind him were a dozen other colonists, including some who had previously opposed Valara's presence. "We have all signed statements supporting the adoption," Ji-woo announced. "We testify that Valara and her children are valuable members of our community." Even more surprising, Choi Sung-ho stepped forward with his own paper. "I also signed," he said quietly. "I was wrong to fear her. She saved our harvest. She saved our children from hunger." Inspector Lee looked around the room at all the supporting faces. "This is highly irregular, but legal," Young Miran confirmed. "The petition for citizenship will be reviewed by Federation courts. Until then, the family stays together." Over the following days, more colonists came forward to support Valara's citizenship application. They told stories of how her children played peacefully with human children, learning both languages and customs. They described her tireless work in the fields and her knowledge that had saved their crops. Dr. Kim wrote a detailed report about Valara's agricultural innovations. Her techniques could revolutionize farming throughout the Federation, he concluded. Separating her from her children would be both cruel and wasteful. The turning point came when a message arrived from the Federation Agricultural Council. They had heard about Valara's success with crop diseases and wanted to offer her a research position at their main facility. "This changes everything," Inspector Lee admitted when she read the message. "If the Agricultural Council wants to work with her, the security concerns become much less important." "What does this mean for Valara?" Do-hyun asked. "It means her citizenship petition will likely be approved," Young Miran explained. "The Federation values useful skills over bureaucratic procedures." That evening, Valara sat with her children in the farmyard, watching the sunset. Hyeri was teaching them a human song, and their clicking voices blended with her clear singing. "Do you want to work for the Federation Agricultural Council?" Do-hyun asked, sitting beside her. "Want to work here?" Valara replied. "This is home now. These are my people." She gestured toward the house where Yuna was preparing dinner for the extended family. "But the opportunity could be good for your children's future." Valara considered this. "Maybe someday. When little one's bigger. For now, want them to grow up here, with human brothers and sister." She looked at Hyeri, who was patiently repeating the song lyrics for the alien children. "You know this means you will truly be part of our family," Do-hyun said. "Adoption papers make it official." "Was already part of family," Valara replied. "Papers just tell Federation what heart already knows." A week later, the Federation Court approved both the adoption and citizenship petition. Valara became the first Thaikal citizen of the Federation, and her children became the first interspecies adoption case in colonial history. Inspector Lee left the colony with a recommendation that Valara be offered a consulting position with the Agricultural Council, working from New Busan to develop new farming techniques. That night, the colony held another celebration. This time, Valara and her children did not stay on the edges of the crowd. They were at the center, surrounded by friends and neighbors who had fought for their right to stay together. As the celebration continued into the night, Do-hyun reflected on how much had changed since that stormy evening, when a desperate mother crashed into their lives. They had gained not just farm workers, but family members who brought new knowledge and perspectives to their community. The real test, however, was still to come. 6 months after Valara gained citizenship, life in New Busan had settled into a peaceful routine. Her children, now fluent in both human language and their native clicking speech, attended school with the other colony children. Valara worked with Dr. Kim to develop new farming techniques that increased crop yields across the entire settlement. The warning came. Without any advance notice, Do-hyun was working in the fields with Valara when the colony's emergency alarm began blaring. The sound meant immediate danger approaching from space. All colonists were supposed to report to designated safe areas. What is happening? Valara asked, but her compound eyes were already looking toward the sky with an expression Do-hyun had never seen before. Fear mixed with recognition. Park Min-ho's voice crackled over the colony communication system. All residents report to the community center immediately. We have unidentified ships approaching our system. As they hurried toward the settlement, Valara's children ran to meet them. But instead of their usual happy chirping, they were making distressed clicking sounds. They pressed close to their mother, their large eyes filled with terror. They found us, the youngest one said in human words. The hunters found us. Security Chief Oh Sun-woo met them at the community center. His face was grim as he showed them readings from the colony's long-range sensors. 3 ships, definitely not human design, he reported. They match the hull configuration of that crashed ship we found months ago. Valara studied the sensor data and her body began trembling. Thaikal military ships, she confirmed. Hunter class. They come for me. How did they find you? Park Min-ho asked. Every ship has unique energy signature, Valara explained. If they look hard enough, they can track where crashed ship came from. Take long time, but they never stop hunting deserters. The colonists gathered in the community center looked afraid. Most had come to accept Valara and her children, but the thought of alien warships coming to their home was terrifying. What do they want? Dr. Kim asked. Want me back for execution? Valara said quietly. Want my children for Hive Collective. In Thaikal culture, deserters must die. Children of deserters become property of state. We will not let them take you, Do-hyun said firmly. You cannot fight Thaikal military, Valara replied. These ships carry plasma weapons, can destroy colony from orbit if they want. Oh Sun-woo was already organizing the colony's defenses, but everyone knew they were vastly outmatched. New Busan had only basic defensive systems designed to protect against pirates or small raiders. The alien ship sent a communication message. The transmission came through in the clicking language of the Thaikal, but Valara translated for the humans. They say I have 24 hours to surrender myself and my children, she said, her voice shaking. If I do not, they will destroy this settlement as an example to other colonies that harbor fugitives. The community center erupted in worried voices. Some colonists argued they should hand over Valara to save themselves. Others insisted they would never abandon a family member. There has to be another way, Nam Ji-woo said. Valara is one of us now. We protect our own. How can we protect anyone if we are all dead? Choi Sung-ho asked. He had changed his opinion about Valara, but he was still practical about survival. Hyeri stood up, her young voice cutting through the adult arguments. Mom always says that family means you never give up on each other. Valara is family. Valara looked at the human girl who had become like a sister to her children. Little human sister should not die for me. It's too much sacrifice. Nobody is dying, Do-hyun declared. Valara, you know these ships better than anyone. What are their weaknesses? Valara seemed surprised by the question. You really want to fight them? We really want to save our family, Yuna corrected. All of our family. For the first time since the ships arrived, hope appeared in Valara's large eyes. She began describing Thaikal military tactics and technology. The hunter ships were fast and well-armed, but they had limitations. Shields very strong against energy weapons, she explained, but not so good against kinetic weapons. Physical objects moving fast can damage them. We have mining charges, Oh Sun-woo suggested, and some industrial lasers. Lasers will not work, Valara said. But mining charges, yes, if can get them close enough to ships. How do we get mining charges close to military ships? Someone asked. Valara thought for a moment. Thaikal ships have weakness. They always send small scout ship first to scan for threats. If can capture scout ship, can use it to approach main ships. The plan that emerged was desperate and dangerous. They would use the colony's small transport ships to surround the Thaikal scout vessel when it approached. If they could disable it without destroying it, Valara could pilot it back toward the main ships carrying hidden mining charges. This plan has maybe 10% chance of success, Oh Sun-woo admitted. Better than 0%, Doyun replied. As the colonists prepared for battle, Valara spoke privately with her children. She explained what might happen and made them promise to stay safe with the Kang family no matter what occurred. If I do not come back, she told them in their clicking language, remember that these humans fought for us. Remember that family is about love, not just blood. The youngest child, who had learned to speak human words very well, looked up at her mother. You will come back. Humans are good at impossible things. Yeri told me so. Night fell over New Busan colony as the residents made their final preparations. Some families left for the emergency shelters in the nearby hills. Others stayed to fight, declaring they would not abandon their home without a struggle. Valara spent the dark hours before dawn, teaching Oh Sun-woo and his security team everything she knew about Thaikal military procedures. She drew diagrams of ship layouts and explained weapon systems. Why are you helping us fight your own people? Oh Sun-woo asked. Not my people anymore, Valara replied. My people are here now. My hive is here. She gestured toward the community center where humans were working together to defend their home. As the sun rose, sensors detected the approach of a single small ship. The Thaikal scout vessel moved cautiously toward the colony, scanning for defensive capabilities. Remember, Valara said over the communication system as the colonists prepared to spring their trap. Thaikal think humans are weak because you avoid fighting. They do not expect you to attack. Use that surprise. The scout ship came closer, its sensors focused on the main settlement. It did not notice the 3 colony transport ships hiding behind nearby hills until they emerged and surrounded it. Now, Oh Sun-woo commanded. The transport ships fired their small weapons at the scout vessel's engines, disabling its ability to escape. The alien ship crashed in the fields outside the colony, damaged but intact. Phase 1 complete, Oh Sun-woo reported. Now we see if Phase 2 is possible. As they approached the crashed scout ship, everyone knew the real battle was just beginning. The main Thaikal fleet would not wait much longer for their scout to report back. Soon they would have to face weapons powerful enough to destroy their entire world. But for the first time since the alien ships arrived, the colonists felt they had a chance. They were fighting for family, and as Valara had learned during her months with them, humans could accomplish amazing things when they fought for the people they loved. The captured Thaikal scout ship lay broken in the wheat field, its hull cracked but systems still functional. Valara climbed inside with Oh Sun-woo and 2 other security officers, her 4 hands moving quickly over alien controls. Ship damaged, but can fly, she reported. Engines work. Communication works. Perfect for what we need. They loaded mining charges into the scout ship's cargo area, each one equipped with remote detonators. The plan was simple but dangerous. Valara would pilot the ship back toward the main Thaikal fleet, pretending to make a routine report. When she got close enough, the charges would detonate, hopefully disabling at least one of the larger ships. Are you sure you can do this? Dohyun asked as they finished the preparations. Not sure about anything, Valara admitted, but must try. Cannot let them hurt my new family. The Thaikal fleet had been waiting in orbit above the planet. As Valara's scout ship approached, they sent the expected challenge signals. She responded in her own language, reporting that the human colony was defenseless and ready for capture. Down on the surface, the colonists watched through their sensors as the small ship moved closer to the alien fleet. Everyone held their breath as Valara flew directly toward the largest warship. Detonation in 10 seconds. Oh, Sun-woo announced over the communication system. The mining charges exploded in a brilliant flash, visible even from the planet's surface. The lead Thaikal ship's shields collapsed, and secondary explosions rippled along its hull. The ship began falling toward the planet, no longer able to maintain orbit. But the other 2 ships survived the attack. Immediately, they began firing their plasma weapons toward the colony. Bright beams of energy struck the hills around New Busan, turning rock and soil into molten glass. All defensive positions, return fire, Oh Sun-woo commanded. The colonists had prepared their weapons carefully. Industrial mining lasers, normally used for cutting rock, were aimed at the alien ships. Kinetic projectiles launched from magnetic accelerators streaked through the atmosphere. Most missed their targets, but some found their mark. We hit something, Nam Ji-woo reported from his weapon position. 1 ship is leaking atmosphere. The battle continued for what felt like hours but was actually only minutes. The Thaikal ships were powerful, but they had expected to face a defenseless farming colony. The coordinated resistance caught them by surprise. Then came the moment everyone feared. One of the alien ships turned its main weapons toward the colony's residential area, preparing to destroy the settlement completely. "They are targeting the school," someone shouted over the communications. At that moment, Valara's voice crackled through their radios. She had survived the explosion and was piloting a damaged Thykal escape pod. "All ships, this is Valara," she said in her clicking language, broadcasting on Thykal military frequencies. "I am War Commander Valara of the Northern Hive. These humans are under my protection. Any ship that harms them will answer to the High Council." The Thykal ship stopped firing. Even in the middle of battle, they hesitated to attack someone claiming to be a war commander. "Maintain the deception," Osunwu told his fighters. "Keep firing, but avoid fatal hits." The psychological warfare worked. The Thykal commanders were confused and uncertain. They had come to capture a deserter, not fight a war commander protected by human allies. After several more minutes of scattered fighting, the surviving Thykal ships began withdrawing from the planet. One was too damaged to make the journey back to their home system and crashed in the ocean. The other managed to escape into space. "They are gone," Osunwu announced. "The colony is safe." Valara's escape pod landed near the settlement and the entire community rushed to greet her. Her children reached her first, clicking frantically in their own language while tears streamed down their faces. "I thought you were dead," Yeri said, hugging Valara's long legs. "Very hard to kill," Valara replied, though she was clearly exhausted and injured. Human determination makes Thykal strong too. In the days following the battle, Federation ships arrived to investigate the conflict. When they learned that a small agricultural colony had successfully defended against alien warships, the story spread throughout human space. The Federation officially recognized New Busan as a model for interspecies cooperation. They provided resources to repair battle damage and expand the colony's defenses. More importantly, they established New Busan as a sanctuary for refugee families of all species. 6 months later, Valara stood in a field that had been destroyed during the battle but was now growing again. Her agricultural techniques had restored the damaged soil, and the crops were healthier than ever. Beside her, Dr. Kim was taking notes for a research paper that would change farming practices across dozens of worlds. "The soil remembers the fire," Valara observed, touching a handful of earth. "But earth always heals, always grows again." Her children had grown significantly since the battle. They were now teenagers by Thykal standards, tall and graceful like their mother. They spoke perfect human language but still clicked to each other in private conversations. They attended the colony's expanded school alongside human children and 3 other refugee families that had arrived seeking sanctuary. "Are you happy here?" Dohyun asked, joining Valara in the field. 5 years had passed since that stormy night when she first crashed into their lives. "Happy is a small word," Valara replied. "Content, peaceful, purposeful. Have family, have work, have home. What more can anyone want?" The colony had grown into a small city, with visitors coming from across the sector to learn about interspecies agriculture and cooperation. Valara had established an institute where humans and aliens worked together to develop new farming techniques. "Do you ever miss your old home?" Yuna asked. She was now the colony's director of refugee services, helping new alien families adapt to life among humans. "Old home gone," Valara said simply. "War destroyed it. But this home, this family grew from choice, not birth. Sometimes chosen family stronger than blood family." That evening, the extended family gathered for dinner as they did every week. Around the table sat Dohyun, Yuna, and Hyeri alongside Valara and her 3 children. Also present were Nam Jiwoo and his wife, who had adopted 2 alien refugee children, and Dr. Kim with his family. The conversation mixed human words with clicking sounds, and laughter filled the air. The younger children switched easily between languages, telling jokes that worked in both human speech and Thyko clicking. "Remember that first night?" Hyeri asked, now a young adult studying interspecies communication. "When Mom was so scared of you?" "Was scared of her too," Valara admitted, clicking with amusement. "Thought all humans might be dangerous. Did not know they could be family." "We did not know what family really meant until you showed us," Yuna replied. "Family is not just about who shares your blood. Family is about who you choose to protect and who chooses to protect you." As the evening continued, Dohyun looked around the table at faces both human and alien, all united by bonds stronger than species or biology. The desperate offer that Valara had made during that storm 5 years ago had grown into something none of them could have imagined. She stated, "I will work your crops, human. Just make sure my little ones are fed," he said quietly, remembering her first words to him. "And we said yes," Valara replied, reaching across the table to squeeze his hand with one of her 4 arms. Best decision anyone ever made. Outside, the fields of New Busan stretched under a star-filled sky. The crops grew strong and healthy, tended by many hands of different shapes and colors, all working together to nurture life from the soil. In the distance, new ships arrived carrying more refugees seeking the sanctuary that a desperate mother and a compassionate farmer had built together. The galaxy was still full of conflict and fear, but here in this small corner of space, different species had learned to call each other family, and that family continued to grow. One meal, one harvest, one act of kindness at a time. It had all started with a simple request from a mother trying to feed her children. But sometimes the most profound changes begin with the simplest human responses to suffering. Yes, we will help. Yes, you can stay. Yes, you are family now. And in a universe often divided by difference, that simple human word, yes, had become the foundation of hope.